welcome back. Back to school. That is the theme of the week. Even though maybe the kids aren't quite going back yet, we're getting you ready for it. Back to school shopping. Probably have started that. Have you started that yet with the littles? Done.
Done.
Did you go in person?
I did not. They did. They did that. Right. My wife did that.
So you don't know how much they spent.
No, I don't. I'll find out in a couple of weeks here.
That's what we're talking about.
The good news is there are ways that you can prepare for school year expenses. Financial instructor Michael Masserant, Retirement Education Foundation, here to help us stay on budget. And it feels like, you know, everything is so expensive, and these things add up so quickly.
They do. So, you know, inflation is cooling, and I'll keep saying this. I'm sure people have heard me say this already, but I'll keep saying it forever because it's a huge misconception. Cooling inflation does not mean falling prices. Cooling inflation means prices are still rising, just slower than they were before. So people might be surprised. They see a headline saying inflation is falling, but they go to the store and prices are still high. That's what cooling inflation means.
How do we get the prices to fall, Michael?
That's a whole different story.
Okay, that's a different time. Okay,
but in terms of, you know, the average household, you know, purchases about $800 to $1,000 worth of goods to prepare for back to school shopping. And if you have 2, 3, 4 children, that could be, you know, in excess of $1,000 just to get ready for back to school shopping, which is a lot for the average family.
Well, what are people supposed to do at this point? School's around the corner, and these are supplies that you have to be buying, or clothes or shoes.
For sure. So the first thing is start with the closet. What do we already have that we can stretch out maybe 6 more months, maybe the next school year? There are lots of half-used notebooks, you know, old crayons, pencils, folders that we can reuse.
That is the truth, actually. I still have a bunch of half-used notebooks and boxes of pencils and all that. Yeah.
And, you know, especially if there are multiple children. So, you know, I grew up in a family of 4, so I know I'm the oldest of 4. My youngest sister was going off to, you know, 3rd grade with the backpack that I had when I was in 3rd grade, so we made it work for a long, long time.
Yeah.
So if there are hand-me-downs that can be had, that can go a long way.
You know, you talk about the kindergartners maybe, and you get the crayons and the markers and the Kleenex, and that's one thing. But when you're having to get calculators and Chromebooks and all this other stuff that some districts require you to have so you can do the work at home, that's a pretty big bill.
For sure, and that's another thing here. In terms of a lot of people, and it sounds like this might have been your household, which is a lot of people do this, they go knock it out in one day. Let's buy everything in one day and call it a day. If you can do it in waves, if you can hold out for the Labor Day sales, for the October discount sales, you can save a lot of money if you're able to hold off on some of the purchases that aren't maybe critical for day 1 of the school day, for the school year, and pick those things up Labor Day or in October.
There's also like that, what's that T8 calculator that my kids need? The really expensive calculator.
Those graphing calculators.
Oh yeah, I don't remember what it's called.
Yeah, well,
Ticaranda or something like that.
The Ticaranda is the pencils that we wanted, but the
TI-85, Marielle says.
Yeah, that calculator is very expensive, and so there should be, if you're a little bit creative, you should be able to find one that someone's not using, or ask the kids, hey, can you buy one, a used one off an upperclassman or something.
Absolutely, and all these things can go a long way because, again, we're talking about budgeting, and especially for the back-to-school stuff, one of the fun, I think, tips and tricks for parents is you got to buy the needs for the kids. They need it, it's non-negotiable. But the wants, give the kids a budget and tell them, go ahead. You want the new shoes, you want the new clothes, you want the new whatever. Here's X amount of dollars, and you go budget for yourself.
We talk about financial literacy. We've been doing this with you for a long time now. Isn't this the time where you can really model that? Like, to tell the kids we have to be disciplined about what we're going to spend. Like you just said, this is what you have, and this is what things cost. What do you want to do?
100%, because it forces the kids to start to make choices of, yes, they might want the backpack and the shoes, but now they recognize I only have enough money for one of these things, so I have to make a choice. And that starts to instill this sense of money has value, and my choices have repercussions, and which of these things do I want more? And maybe if they say, well, I want both of them, you can say, great, we can set up a chore schedule, you can make some more income, we'll pay you an allowance, and you can get the shoes 2 months from now. And now they start to develop this sense of, saving money and the value of money and the value of their time. It can be really powerful. These little opportunities can be really powerful.
We talk about The Psychology of Money, which is a book that we've all read, and it's a quick read if you're interested in it. But one of the things that The Psychology of Money in my own household, I saw, so my son, who's my oldest, he had a backpack that he took from 2nd grade, I believe, all the way through high school. Never got a new backpack.
Really?
Never wanted a new backpack. And his sisters every year wanted a new backpack. There's nothing wrong with the other backpack, but they wanted to get a different style or color or whatever. But that's an interesting little glimpse at the understanding, and I don't know if that's taught or if that's hardwired or what that is, but the psychology of that, of understanding. There's nothing wrong with this one. I'm just going to carry this one until it breaks.
And trying to highlight, okay, so he's using the same backpack year after year after year. So as a result, he gets to, buy new shoes or get a new shirt, whatever he wants to get.
Yeah.
And reward that behavior of, I'm going to make this work so I can get something else that I really want more.
And there are things that pop up all year long, too. It's not just the back to school now. When you talk about, school and finances and resources for school, I mean, there might be a camp in, November, or this 8th grade trip to D.C. in April or whatever.
Yeah.
There are things all year long that you have to budget for.
For sure, and that's something that ideally as a parent, keep that on the radar of if your child's in 8th grade and the 8th grade trip's coming up, keep that on the radar because those things can blow up a budget if you're not careful.
And then comes sports. That's a different topic.
Yeah, we didn't even talk about that.
Yeah. So
what about that new bat that's about $400 these days?
Yeah, it's.
What happened to the price of bats? Please.
Yeah, why are they so expensive? And you still can't hit the ball. All right, Michael, thank you.
Of course.
We'll see you next hour.
Sounds good.